Good day everyone and welcome to Obedient Family TV. The program is Hope Alive. Yes, there is hope in Nigeria and we are working towards it. On a good morning, afternoon and evening, depending where you're watching us from. Today we have come to share some things that are actually happening in Nigeria. As we can see that even while Tinubu has said that the time for politics is over, he is still looking at sacking the immediate nominee to the CBN board. That will come in a moment. And also we have that of other things that are happening in the country, like the Attorney General, the former Attorney General Malami, who sidelined investigators and siphoned a whole lot of money that went into billions. Plus, we have coming on at this very hour, this God's will Akpabio's 2024 budget, where we have billions going on borehole construction and all of that. We'll bring details as we enter into the, but most importantly, bringing you the reasons or the thoughts why Ruby, the person who is an obedient member, who was actually at the polling unit and who did confirm that she voted P2B in, was later removed after prior confirmation coming to Tinubu and sending it to the National Assembly. I'm not the only one to speak all about this. I have Divine in the studio.
Thank you for joining us in today's episode. We're so glad to have you.
Yes, wherever you're watching us from, please do like, share, and also comment on the comment section so that Obedience will know that Obedient Family TV is live. So let's get to the major point. We have an obedient member, and the talk has been going on online. And reactions coming from different quarters that an obedient member who was offered a position to see how they could help, because this Tinubu's administration needed help and they have been calling for help. Even our principal, through his tweets and his discussions, has also been proffering solutions. So we have an obedient member who actually came, who was nominated, actually affirmed by Tinubu, but later rescinded that offer as a result of reactions coming from APC senators who decided that an obedient is not worthy to be a member of a CBN board. Now, we're not talking about a member of that very particular administration, but CBN board, because we get it wrong. Sometimes people get it wrong by saying that it is going to work for this administration. No, it is trying to get something right at the board level of the CBN. That is what Dr. Ruby Onwudiwe intends to achieve. But before I get your reaction, Divine, let's even hear how she posted on the 25th of February 2023 of last year, her post of her polling unit, how she announced the result on her polling units that is really affecting the APC Agbadorians right now. Let's take a listen. This is what Dr. Ruby posted on the 25th of February 2023 when this very election had. And she also tweeted in her X handle, formerly known as Twitter, and you will see where she outlines what we told all obedience to do on that day. She did her part. And that's why I am bringing it up as an obedient member, because we said that everybody on that day, she posted what happened at their polling unit, and she was emphatic when she said that it was a landslide victory for the Labour Party at any polling unit. Lekki polling unit, and she put the number there. Put the numbers, and we see the whopping number that they made sure that LP was accorded for. Divine, I know you've had, before we get in the show, you've said so much about what Tinubu is looking up to, talking about the governors to forget about politics and then to forth governance and all of that. What do your reaction to this?
Well, I just think it's interesting because just yesterday, this man came out to say that, you know what, the time for politics is over, and that the totality of the governors should actually come out and help him rebuild Nigeria. This was while they were breaking the fast, the Ramadan fast yesterday at government house, right? And he made this call for, you know, partisan politics to end. He said, you know what, we've already ended this election. Just put your hands, all hands should be on deck. Let us rebuild Nigeria. And so it's just very interesting, and it is contradicting his stance, because if you say politics is over, why then are you actually retrieving someone's nomination or someone's appointment? Because, you know, there were new evidence to show that they did not support you when you came out for president. And it's just interesting because now it's no longer about competence or people that are actually deserving to be on this board. Is more about who supported him and who did not. So now he is expected to actually, you know, bring out or announce a new name to actually replace her in this board. But the question is, so is it by party? Are we now doing our appointments based on party? We need people that are going to come and actually steer the nation in the right direction. Who cares if she did not support you in the last election? That should be the least of your problems, especially coming from you that said all politics should end. And the news is that some top APC supporters actually were the reason why she got this appointment, or rather nomination, revoked, and that they had earlier protested strongly to senior government officials on the abnormality of the nomination of an opposition figure to serve at the Apex Bank after the news of her nomination. And like I said, our president is expected to actually announce a new nominee from the south. It's probably someone who is an Agbadorian or someone who actually supports the APC, and well, it's just very sad.
Yeah, I think Divine, you're correct in that aspect. Then let's look at it from the other aspect. First, before a nomination occurs, somebody must have brought up somebody's credentials and asked for somebody's CV.
Right.
Now, when the CV is brought, there is a procedure where somebody must investigate, you understand, it goes through security checks and all of that. It went through all of this and came to Tinubu, and Tinubu referred his name for nomination to the National Assembly. So when some people talk about Tinubu, yes, Tinubu might be wrong, might be bad and all of that, but Tinubu sent that name to the National Assembly.
Right.
That is a nomination. And then we look at it from, again, it is for the senators to confirm or not to confirm. That is when they start pulling up their dirty, because that very Senate is a place of criminality. It's the place that those people are already criminal minded. We are always talking about that. Because if you are not criminal minded, why would they start looking at whether she's a supporter of Peter Obi or not a supporter of Peter Obi? Because already Tinubu has already sent them a nomination.
Well, we can see that the appointment is never about merit or if you are deserving of the position, and it's more about who is supporting them and who is not, right? Because it's just very sad to see. We can't, like, my point is, who cares who you support, to be very honest? If you're able to actually deliver the job, we need you in the CBN board, right, as a member, to be able to, you know what, deliberate on issues regarding our exchange, foreign exchange, and the current deflation of the naira as opposed to other currencies. If you can deliver, if you're able to take Nigeria to the promised land, why is it, you know, of such interest to our ruling class that the person did not, you know, support their party in the last election? So they are the chief propagators of this partisan politics. Because now you're telling other governors to actually keep politics aside, the election is over, and they should put all hands on deck to work with you. But at the same time, you're refusing to work with somebody who obviously is, you know, credible enough, who has the credentials to actually help Nigeria and bring her expertise. But you're refusing to work with her just off the basis of, you know, this person is no longer or was not an APC supporter. And for the senators that were moving to this motion for her to actually be, for this her nomination to be taken back, right? I think they should be very ashamed of themselves, to be very honest, because they have reduced Nigeria's banking sector, and rather the forwardness that we need in this country. They've reduced it to party politics and playing with sentiments of who supported them and who did not. So they should cover their faces in shame.
Yes, we have reactions that is coming on people online. We have this journalistic Casey who also made a post. We have several people who have reacted on X platform and other different platforms. But the place that we will see Hussein Rufai, who actually said Nawa, even CBN board member, had to be from the ruling party, and the same people claim election is over. Okay, let's continue with the sentiment. Now, what I want to actually bring to our attention is this. This thing clearly happened around Tuesday, between Monday and Tuesday, thereabout. And it is that same day that Akpabio, Bamidele, and some of these top senators that went to Tinubu, is the day they bring this very something to the attention of Tinubu. Tinubu had already sent this to the National Assembly for as a nominee, you understand? Right. And they refused to confirm, and they went there and gossip. After doing that gossip, that is when now they say, so when they say that there is no cabal in Buhari's government and Tinubu's government, that seems to be a fallacy, a complete fallacy, because we can see it clearly that there are already people who are there to tell him what to do and what not to do. Right. Because if they say that she had security clearance issue, that she had this issue or that issue, that we can understand. But this she had gone through SSS, all the security clearances, and she has, I think her CV was good for it to have gone to National Assembly. Right. Only for somebody to note that she is not a supporter of Tinubu. Is it a supporter of Tinubu that needs to take us to where we are? Look at, let's even take, for example, the CBN that we are talking about. The governor of CBN is that very person, a corporate policy banker. I can go on and tell you how many people that is in this very portfolio, that is in this cabinet, that what they do does not in any way go to the where or their core competence. No, not at all. But again, to restore law and order in Nigeria is a task that requires courageous and bold leaders to undertake. It appears that everyone except a few have lawlessness in their DNA. Just look at how Okada riders, Keke Napep, and other drivers behave on our roads. Just see how law enforcement agents act with reckless abandon on our roads. They cause traffic jams in the name of stop and search. Just see how VIOs stay in the middle of the road to cause traffic jams in the name of checking vehicle particulars and all other, behaving as if we have no law. It's the same thing that is applicable to this very particular Senate. Right. The same thing. And I will tell you to pull up a post. There's a tweet I saw that I want producer to put up for me. That very tweet has to deal with the one of Godswill Akpabio. How much is the cost of doing one borehole in present Nigeria? This is the 2024 budget, talking about lawlessness. Boreholes for 82.5 billion, which is 193 million per borehole. 193 million per borehole. 427 boreholes. And God knows they are not going to do half of these boreholes. 82.5 billion. Where are they showing that kind of borehole? Then we have 1,000.
We have street lights for
212 billion, which is about 184 million per street light. I beg, Niger, which place then they sell street light 184 million street lights? Make we they check all this thing, no. Make we they check and make you not be say maybe they make mistake. Eh? these same senators. But anyway, like I said, the jungle is just here and we are here. You can see hawkers on the road behaving in the most uncultured manner. See beggars banging on cars and doing all sorts of things in the name of begging. Everything seems to have defied due process, and we now operate like jungle. That is what is happening in the Senate. Right. The whole thing you get in the street, when you go to the place where they call the hallowed red chamber, is the same thing you get there. Why take out somebody whom the person in Aso Rock has said, please, confirm this person for me. He did not tell me whether he's a party man or not. It's so annoying.
Yeah, very annoying.
Very, very annoying. But anyway, we'll come back to this so that we will not overstretch this. Let's get to the other thing. We have the court that was sitting in the Supreme Court that now went back to talk about BIVAS. That BIVAS is very important. And they have asked the people in Kogi State that there is hope. They have given hope to Kogi people. That is Supreme Court for you. Can we come out and vouch for them? For where? We know what they did to us. So, I will tell Kogi people, may I carry one leg, hang. Like chicken wey be say, he enter house for the first time. I see say everybody jubilate, say, Supreme Court don't tell Ododo wey be the governor, make him for home, make them for check the whole thing well. The same Supreme Court wey talk say, BIVAS no mean anything. The same Supreme Court where talk say waiting then they call them that where they want show us all the results we say it no matter. Now the same Supreme Court. But anyway, we have seen what the courts how the courts are. Everything is go to court. The highest bidder is who the court deals with. So I think that is you have something to add to that.
Well, speaking of which, we just know that the Supreme Court, or rather the judiciary, is, party of who has the most money and the most influence. And so I don't think it's anything so exciting. The Supreme Court actually ruled against, a federal high court sitting that said they should not actually be allowed to inspect BIVAS. And the Supreme Court ruled that, go ahead and inspect these BIVAS because it is necessary. And this is to the SDP candidates for this election. But all this is by the way because we know that at the end of the day, judgment or the favorable judgment belongs to the person who has the most influence and the most money in Nigeria. And so I'm not really excited about the concept of them actually allowing for BIVAS to be inspected, because these BIVAS could still be inspected and we still have, judgments thwarted in favor of the person who bids the highest.
Yes, go to court, go to court. That is what they want you to do. Go to court and see how even registry. That is coming out from Okute Basan, by the way. So that is an extra from Okute Basan. Go to court and see how some registry staff treat you as nobody. Just see how some professionals in our land prefer evils to good. Just see how law and order have become non-existent in our land. Only bold and courageous leaders can restore sanity in our land. If not, that virtually everything in Nigeria is completely compromised. There are so many people masquerading in power who ought to be in jail by now. God's will Akpabio, for one, I know. The system that threw them on us is so unjust and wicked. Is that not correct?
Very correct.
That system, that criminality, that His Excellency P2B said that we must do what?
Do away with.
We must do away with this criminality. Those who ought to be civilized and well-read, learned, who ought to be agents of light, prefer to sustain and support darkness and evils for pecuniary interest. That is why some lawyers do all to frustrate fair and just electoral disputes by all manners of professional antics in sabotage of justice. I think those who hold the jugular of this country have studied the citizens so well, and they know that we are too gullible. That is why they do what they like and get away with it. They do evil and they justify it with lies. They share our commonwealth and we fall on ourselves to partake in the crumbles that fall under the table. They undevelop us and we can't complain. They have rigged elections, perpetuate themselves in power, even if it means shedding blood to retain power. they manipulate the judicial processes to keep themselves in power. They engage those who share common characteristics with them to employ all manner of antics to deny justice to those who seek justice from courts or tribunals. Justice in its purest form is too far from the seat of justice in most cases. The priests who administer justice get defied by many viruses that are not with pure justice. Some of those whose duty is to administer justice are too far from the required character to administer justice. There is a gang up against justice in Nigeria. There is a gang up to put Nigerians under perpetuate siege. Those who hold this con in the jugular are not ready to give up. Nothing good matters to them. It's so long. That is coming from Okuteba, the senior advocate of Nigeria. What are your thoughts? Justice for Nigeria.
To be honest, I don't think there are any thoughts that this man has not captured in this, lengthy expose, right? And so we know all of this. That's the truth. I always ask, what do we do with all of this knowledge at the end of the day? Because it's beyond just knowing these things. I think everybody who lives in Nigeria, we've seen the pattern. There's a pattern, and we've recognized this pattern that justice is far from Nigerians, and that they were being, ruled and operated by a cabal that is bent on just amassing wealth for their selfish interest. And I think we all know this. But the problem is, what do we do with this knowledge? Because after knowing all of this, what is the way through which we're able to, gain back our country? And the only hope of the common man, we could say, wait for us at the electoral process or during elections so we can eventually vote. But now it's sad because after you vote, you're still not trust the INEC to actually deliver the will of the people to them. So most times, everything this man has said, we all know that it is true. But the problem is, what do we do with this knowledge? And that is really the question that is begging to be answered. What do we do with this knowledge? Because the people because they don't just get into political offices. When they get into political offices, they make sure the people that they put in places of power are people with similar characteristics, people who are desperate enough for power to retain power. And so they put them in these high places. And when it's time for us to actually, change government, they make sure they retain them there so they're able to use them for selfish interest. And these people just, perpetuate evil, and, Nigeria remains what it is. So it is just something that I, for one, know, and I think every other person in Nigeria knows. The question is just, how do we get away from all of this?
Getting away from all of this, just like what you mentioned earlier, when Tinubu said, let's set aside our political difference to move forward.
Right.
I seriously, on my own self, I believe that we should move ahead because we are looking at 2027. That is the next time we want to do what? Elect the people who are going to live at least at the highest level. That is the next line of call. So, but while doing that, Tinubu is already there for some people who has not taken this very thing into their head. He's already there, but we must march towards 2027 by putting ourselves together so that we can be able to let, because election has consequences. So him now coming to say, oh, let's put politics aside and work towards a better Nigeria. Agreed with him, but this, what he has done to Ruby, this woman has shown that he doesn't mean his words.
Right.
He doesn't mean his words. And it's very, very, very unfortunate when we said it. When you say, about coming together to move the country forward, it talks about unison. The act in unison, when it is for them, they are evil. They are simply evil. They quarrel. Anytime you see them quarreling, is to divert our attention. That's what they do. When you see them rowdiness in the House of Senate, they want to divert our attention. Nothing else. Nothing comes from them. Truth is far, very far from them. It's actually removed from them. We can see non-existent projects in the budget. You can see how many millions for borehole that we do in our own backyard, that we know how much the cost of borehole is. Street lights that even individuals put in their village in Anambra and elsewhere. That is what they are telling us, street lights. For how much? 100 and something million per borehole. And then we have 184 million per street light. What the hell? Monies that they simply put there to be shared, not minding how we even react. How the masses suffer. They don't. Very, very appalling. However, let's stay together. A new Nigeria is very, very possible, but it is possible when we decide it is possible. And the only time I know, aside from any protest or any takeover in these present times, it is only through the ballots. And that very time will come. Surely it will come for those who are going to stick together and survive it in 2027. It is coming, but we must stick together. When we do stick together and past that time, we'll build a structure that will kill this criminality. That is the only way we are going to do that. And that's why we have introduced the Obedient Cooperative Society. Obedient Family Cooperative Society is for everybody who is obedient. And also well-meaning Nigerians who want a new Nigeria. The people, we want to go into that very thing that's always been said, which is from consumption to production. We want to engage obedience and well-meaning Nigerians who are into production, agriculture for starters. So if you are into agriculture or into any sort of production that may be supported, be it a fish farm, be it rice mill, be it cash crops, please do join this Obedient Family Cooperative Society so that we can support ourselves going forward until we take back our mandate. Please. And with that, I want to also tell you tomorrow by 7 p.m. we are going to have a Zoom meeting. That is the first Zoom meeting that is going to happen on the Obedient Family Cooperative Society. This is a multi-purpose cooperative society. Do not miss to share this in your timeline for other people to know. We'll be here. It is going to be on Zoom. The link is already on the on this very particular program that is underneath the description of this very video. So please copy the link and use it to join tomorrow being Saturday, the 16th day of March 2024. Join us as we discuss moving forward while we redefine our options from consumption to production. Connect to fellow obedience wherever they are. Share the news with them. We need to stick together, discuss together. So please join this particular by going to the WhatsApp platform. You can also go to the WhatsApp platform that is there. The link is there so that you get other details from there. A lot of people are already there. When we get there by tomorrow, we activate the registrations for everybody from different areas until we said we are going to get this across all the local governments in Nigeria. Cooperative society is local government based in Nigerian law. So it is going to be, it is not like Obedient Family Cooperative Society is going to oversee all others. No, we remain the one that will come out to project what every other person is doing. If you are doing something good and needs to be supported by the cooperative society within your local government or within the national platform, we will do so. But first, you must join the Obedient Family Cooperative Society as a member so that we understand, know who you are, where you are, and what you do. So please, tomorrow is the meeting by 7 p.m. Take the link from the description of this very video. Until we come your way again this evening, we will repeat the same. Be good, God blessings, and bye for now.
The people and all the peoples around the world. For God's sake, stop giving your democratically elected governments the benefit of the doubt. They are not deserving of that. They are not. Stop rationalizing whatever your government is doing. Stop rationalizing and come up with some good intentions. They have no good intentions. Never. As I said before, in the entire history of mankind, there has never been a political elite concerned about the well-being of regular people. And it isn't any different now. Why should it? Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Because I can tell you, you cannot comply your way out of a tyranny. It is impossible. Trying to do so, you will only feed a gigantic alligator in the hopes of being eaten last. But guess what? Your turn will come, and then you will be the one swallowed up. I also have to ask the people, end your silence. Speak up. For God's sake, stop complying. Start rebelling. They're out to get you if you do not resist. I would also urge you to stop voting for those who inflict this psychological abuse on you, who mock you for their own good. In order to deal with this unfree world, to defy this unfree world, I have decided to become so absolutely free that my very existence is an act of rebellion. And that's what we all need to do.